Do you know one of the greatest rights you have as an American? You can own property. I mean, that's one of your greatest rights, whether you realize it or not, because that's not the case in many places around the world. In China, you can only lease land from the government. You pay, but you never own it. Owning property and having the right to protect it and not have it taken, used, or destroyed is sacred in American law. Well, at least it used to be. Recently, St. Louis attorney Mark McCloskey and his wife were about to have dinner on their patio when hundreds of protesters broke down the gate of their privately gated home and descended on their property and threatened to kill them and their dog and burn their house down. They called the police, but none came. So they retrieved guns and appeared on the porch, and they told the trespassers to leave. The protesters, seeing the legally owned guns in the hands of the homeowners, decided they'd just move on. Well, arrests were made from that incident, but it wasn't any of the mob who broke down a gate, trespassed on private property, and threatened innocent homeowners on their own property who got arrested. No, it was the McCloskeys. They were charged by local leftist prosecutor Kimberly Gardner with a felony. Yep, despite the Second, the Fourth, and the Fifth Amendments to the Constitution, as well as Missouri state law, something called the Castle Doctrine, that guarantees the right to defend their property and person with lethal force if they feel threatened by a trespasser, the loony local DA did nothing to the mob and charged the homeowner with crimes and even confiscated their legally owned firearms. To make it worse, a member of Gardner's staff allegedly asked the crime lab to alter their firearms once they became evidence. So I do agree that someone ought to go to prison for all of this, but it sure isn't the McCloskeys. Things are a little upside down in our country when a government official ignores crime and the people who commit it, but who then criminally charge law-abiding citizens for exercising their rights and protecting their very lives. Even though the Missouri Attorney General has taken steps to intervene and get these nutty charges nullified, and Governor Mike Parsons has pledged that he will issue a pardon to the McCloskeys should these bogus charges ever get successfully prosecuted, the outrage of this should not subside. In the rioting and looting that's taken place in St. Louis in the past few months, not one person has been prosecuted by Kim Gardner for setting fires, looting stores, or throwing objects at the police officers, because she believes that's acceptable and defensible behavior. But protecting your property and family, she'd love to lock you up. President Obama famously said that elections have consequences. Man, was he ever right about that. Because electing people like Kim Gardner, or mayors like Bill de Blasio in New York, or Lori Lightfoot in Chicago, or Ted Wheeler in Portland results in putting criminals, thugs, and mobs in the driver's seat and leaving law-abiding citizens with the responsibility of protecting themselves. This year's elections are going to be about many issues, and the response to such things as the Chinese virus will certainly be one of them. But if we don't stop the virus of having elected officials encouraging mob rule and the destruction of private property, and worse, the loss of life by even one-year-olds to random gun violence, then the virus of uncontrolled crime will kill far more of us than COVID ever did or ever will. So despite the vicious and hostile prosecutions of the McCloskeys for simply defending their lives and property, and as you can tell, they're wealthy enough, so they'll probably be able to defend themselves and probably will win in court anyway. What about you? If you can't defend your home, your family, and yourself, all while the police have been defunded or demoralized and sidelined by crazy mayors and governors who justify violence and chaos, then will you be charged with the crime for trying? When you vote in any election, above what the candidates tell you they're going to do about taxes or health care or jobs. You better know what they will do when you are threatened to have your property or life taken from you. Will they stand with the criminals, or will they stand with you? And I don't care what party they represent. If they won't stand with you, why on God's earth would you ever stand with them? Wait, don't click that button. Well, unless it was the subscribe button, and then carry on. And while you're down there, hit that little notification bell too. Oh, and if you leave a like and a comment, I will personally give my dog Toby a treat.